Good afternoon. I have a very, very strong set of speakers with me. So instead of doing a monologue, it would be very good if we can make this session interactive, because I know a lot of founders here who are looking to raise money. So who are all looking to raise money? Can you have a show of hands? We are also raising money, yeah. Okay. So we have a lot of people who want to raise money, and we've got experts in the panel, who will be able to answer most of your doubts, or what is it that you need to do in order to get money from investors. Now again, so all of you please be ready to ask your questions, keep it very short, so that we can have interaction. We can give something back to you rather than us talking about what the market is. So generally speaking, the food industry is an operationally heavy industry, right? So it requires 24/7 work, maybe more. But the opportunities are huge, and out of maybe 1,000 companies, only maybe 5 or 10 will get funded because they have the right type of things which investors are looking for. So before we go on to your questions, I would ask my panelists to just introduce themselves in terms of how they see the food industry and what entrepreneurs in Coimbatore or places like Coimbatore should do in order to come to center stage where, I know Bala has got some excellent brands from Coimbatore where they have invested, or even from down south. So just share a few things about that, Bala. Over to you.
Malai Vanakkam, good afternoon, good evening. Just to introduce myself, I'm based in Chennai, originally born, brought up and spoiled in Madurai. So that brings me closer to Coimbatore than anyone else in here. Food, it's a tough business. Anything to do with food is a tough business. Yeah, actually said it, it's very operatingly intensive business. I was talking to Sir from Boomerang in the afternoon. I was telling him that the closest I can think of is a truck operator, because what time he sleeps, what time I think the vehicle is on the road, when does the vehicle gets hit, on what contingencies he or she has to plan. It's no one knows what's happening around, but you have to still be serving everyone and with smiles. It's a tough business. Okay, so I think I'm sure all of you would know this. But having said that, this has got immense opportunity which one could provide, I think, especially in a country like us, where there's a lot of structural changes happening, which is people eating out, also more men and women working, finding lesser time for cooking at home. It's opening up space across, I think, in terms of packaged food, full service restaurant, quick service restaurants, cloud kitchens, cafes, bars. Also on the infrastructure side, not necessarily the platforms, it could be even the supply chain, your supply node, or even logistics. So it's a whole host of opportunities. As someone was saying that this is probably the third, fourth industry within the country. But having said that, the organized, in terms of food outlets, it's far and few. It's evolving. By and large, it has remained, family businesses, which is one of the great things about this business, because family is committed to it. But having said that, it has remained as a localized business. It can be a localized business, but those are the challenges. But sky is the limit. So with that, I think, I would leave it for the opening, and then probably I think come to specifics later on. Thank you.
Yes, Neeraj.
As Bala just mentioned, this is a huge opportunity segment actually for us. It's not just the front end of F&B, but a lot of other ecosystem plays there in this industry. So, for example, we invested in almost 100 odd companies in last 4.5 years. So out of that, there are 7-8 companies in food. Not everyone is just doing the front ending of this industry, but companies like Last Mile Delivery, Zip Electric is one of the biggest last mile partner for Swiggy and Zomato and Zepto. We invested in Supply Node, which is like a logistics and inventory management for restaurants, one of the biggest company in this space. On direct food supply thing, And these are big multiplier, by the way, for us. Okay, so that's also basically is important from the investor side. Zip Electric is like 100x multiplier for us. We invested at 3 million. Now it's $300 million company. Anveshan is one big success story. It's an oil, ghee, spices company. A lot of restaurants are using that brand. Good brand they have built directly working with the farmers. So it's a great impact story also. Again, big multiplier for us, almost 50x. We invested at 10 crore. Today it's like 500 crore. So the point I'm making is it's a huge opportunity area for us. So when we walk into a room like this, I think we are very, we feel very privileged to meet so many founders at one place today. Hari sir has introduced me, I think 5-6 very, very interesting business young entrepreneurs already. And we, throughout the day, I think this is probably the only day, Hari sir, that when I spend the entire day in a workshop, in a seminar, in a forum like this, and I made so many notes. Hearing all these dignitaries and all these guys who made really big. So at least for myself, I think it was a whole, curve of learning today. And I'm look forward to this discussion also, learning more from both of you.
Yeah, thank you. So can we have the first question from somebody in Coimbatore? First privilege goes to Coimbatore. Tamil la venana, Tamil la kuda kekkalam, onnu problem illa. Bala sir vandu Tamil la answer பண்ணுவார்.
சுத்த தமிழ்லே கேட்கலாம்.
Yes, please.
Good evening. Good evening. So, நான் கோயம்புத்தூர்ல இருந்து ஒரு business ஆரம்பிக்கிறேன். I am planning something that is more culturally rooted and lifestyle. இப்போ ஒரு 6 to 12 monthsல நான் funding raise பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னா ஒரு investors இருந்து 2 to 3 key points நீங்க என்ன பார்க்குறீங்க? What should I be prepared for? What are your key points for investing in my business?
நீங்கள் கேட்ட கேள்விக்கு எனக்கே பதில் தெரியல. பட் இருந்தாலும் நான் எவ்வளோ முடியுமோ அவ்வளோ தூரம்
ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணிக்கிறது.
இல்லை, இது ஒரு சயின்ஸாக இருந்தால் இதெல்லாம் இருக்குது 1 2 3 4 அப்படின்னு சொல்லி டிக் அடிச்சுட்டு போயிடலாம். அது கிடையாது. இது ஒரு ஆர்ட். அதாவது என்னையை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இதில் முக்கியமான விஷயம் அந்த தொழிலுக்கு பின்னாடி யார் இருக்காங்க அப்படிங்கிறது தான். ஃபவுண்டர் தான். எங்களோட பிஸ்னஸில் நாங்கள் இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ண இப்போ சாகரோட பிஸ்னஸில் வாமோமோவில் என்னோடய பார்ட்னர் ஏஞ்சல்லேருந்து இருக்கார், இன்னும் போர்டில் இருக்கார். காலேஜ் விட்டு வெளியே வந்ததுலேருந்து சரி அவரை பேக் பண்ணலாம் ஒரு மோமோ ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்காக அப்படிங்கிறது இந்த மாதிரிலாம் நோட் போட்டு எழுதி இதுக்காக யாரும் பண்ணலை. You see the person, you see the fire, I think whether this particular person is capable of handling such things.
Yes.
And then scale up. Okay.
So do you look at the concept or do you look at the...
I would just want to come back to you.
Yes.
How much money you want to raise?
Sir, at least 1 crore to scale it to the level I'm thinking.
What is your current business?
I'm into exports.
Export? No. How much money you do? How much money you make? How much sales are you doing?
My per container makes me around 6 lakhs. We are doing more than 20 containers.
So basically you require working capital support.
Yes, to scale the business.
Yes. So working capital support typically investors do not provide. Yeah. Banks provide. NBFCs provide. So the most important thing, the first thing which every founder who is looking for money has to understand, what is the type of money you are looking for? Are you looking for support to execute your business in terms of executing orders for which you require raw material, process and other things? Right? That has a different way of funding. Okay. Investors who are sitting here, they all put 10 rupees and they expect to make 10,000 rupees.
Hoping to be.
Yes, so they want to make 10,000 rupees. 10x. So the risk and reward has to be very high.
Okay.
So this is risk capital. This is not safe capital. So if you have a risky project which has got a very high opportunity to make a multiple, in that case, these investors are there. But there are plenty of other investment opportunities today. You can get grants, you can get Startup India Seed Fund, you can get SIDBI Credit Guarantee Scheme. So there are a number of schemes.
But how do you...
So there are ways today in the internet you can go and find out what are the schemes which can support your type of business. And that is what is the first homework which founders should do. Before going to a venture capitalist or to an angel investor or to a HNI, you must first do your homework properly to understand where you stand, what are your immediate opportunities where you can ask for money, and then you should approach that. So most of the time, founders do not do this homework and they go and knock the wrong door and they say, "Yeah, we don't get funds. Funding is very tough." Actually, funding is not tough. You have to do your homework properly and go to the right place. Then you will get a yes or no very quickly. So I think I want to make this very clear to all entrepreneurs. Do your homework properly before you approach an investor.
Very good, very good.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other question from Coimbatore? Yes, please. Kerala. Next is Kerala.
When you're asking for money, you have to be loud even without the mic, ma'am.
You said you guys are looking to invest 1 rupee, then get 10,000 in return, right?
Yes.
I didn't think, why would I want to actually put this guys to all the heavy work when I could build that? So my question to you is, do I have to have money to be used? Or there is art elsewhere, can I start from where I absolutely?
Good question. So, you don't have to have money to be where we are. Right? Because this is also entrepreneurship. I know when Anicut Capital started, they were just a startup. When We Founder Circle started, they were a startup. But from that startup stage, they got money from others, and then today they have built a very large assets, business where they manage a very large number of assets. So if you want, you can also do that.
The point is that one becoming 10,000 is a hope. Okay, you are living in a hope. And most of the money is always in paper. Okay, either in your wallet or in terms of shares. Okay, and so if this is something which you like, you should do it. Okay, the green is always, the grass is always greener on the other side.
But I must tell you, it's a very, very tough business. Being on this side, it's extremely tough. Right? Because you take money from, let's say I take money from these four people and tell them in 7 years you will get your exit and this is what we are planning to get. They are breathing down our necks to see, when are we going to return the money with the multiples that we have promised. So it's a lot of pressure and responsibility to return other people's money. As an angel investor, I don't have a problem. We write off whatever doesn't work. But when you're taking money from others, it becomes a huge responsibility, at least 100 times more responsible than your own money. So it's a very tough business this side.
Just to give you, just to stay on the same thing. In COVID times, I'm sure all of you would have, anyone who had a food business, and India had the funniest rule. You can open 50%, you can open in opposite tables, opposite chairs. I think, everyone who decided the rule, said I think, so much innovative things. So we had many businesses, in food and sports. All of them have, where is that young lady, almost collapsed or almost nearer to zero. So see, there is one profession which commits the maximum number of suicides. You know which one? It's actually the psychiatrist, because he or she gets to hear only the problems, and they think that it may come to us. So we were literally psychiatrists in those days. I think when every other restaurant guy where we had an investment calling you and telling you that I think this is a problem. And there is one promoter, I think, and I know the founder. He said, I am unable to pay my salary to my employees, it's the worst thing which could have happened to me. And he went to an extent saying that, let me give ration for the families of my employees for the next 6 months. That's the only thing I can provide. I don't have the money. Okay, so, and that business succeeded. I think it came from 15, 17 crores a month to zero. And then now it is back again at 15, 16 crores after 4 years without even 1 rupee of being additional capital. So I'm saying it's tough from the other side. I think the proof of the pudding was I think when the COVID happened. And I think it's also tough from this side to see some of those creations which you had great hopes and crumbling down to zero. So it's not that easy, young lady. Thank you.
Kerala, anybody from Kerala? Yes, please.
Yes.
Hi, myself Shibin. I'm 21-year-old. I'm the co-founder of Railrolls. It's a startup. We serve a affordable quick service restaurant brand, serve to train travelers to provide a hygienic, convenient and affordable food solution. So my question is, what is the ideal way of dilution in the QSR market in early days?
Well, I think that question is a very generic question for everyone. I think it's a very important question, that how much to dilute. So typically, because we operate in early stage, so I can share with some experience. Before you really reach to a Series A, when you actually need large institutional venture capital, VC fund, typically the founder should hold at least 70% of the equity. That means 30% is the ideal. So if you can reduce it to say 20 to between anywhere from 20 to 30%, and it will need basically a couple of rounds. So it's like seed or angel, probably you will have 2 to 3 rounds before you reach to a VC round. So if you can control say 70% among yourself, like 2-3 founders, whoever you are, I think that's a good number, okay, for a VC, because the moment they comes in, they would like to have at least 15 to 20% of the company, and they might give some exit to the existing investors also. So idea is the founder should hold at least that much equity when they go to a Series A. So that's a broader answer.
Yeah, thanks. So my answer is different. So I tell every founder who is going for the first fundraise, do not dilute more than 10% in your first round, because you will also have to create an ESOP pool of 10%. So literally you are diluted 20% when you are taking your first round. Right? In some cases, it may be 15% because the quantum of money that you want to raise is such that your valuation does not allow you to just dilute 10%. You have to dilute 15%. But anything beyond 20% in the first round of funding is disastrous, because we also have done it with many founders thinking that we are getting a great deal by having more equity in the first round, but actually it doesn't help you when you raise the further rounds. So the founders should have sufficient capital or sufficient holding, because as you go on raising more and more money, your holding has to be significant. For example, when you are doing a Series C round, at least you should hold 26 to 30%. So there is a sort of set thing which everybody follows. So in the first round, don't dilute more than 10%. Keep in mind that you have to have a 10% provision for ESOPs. You can do 15%. Bala, you want to add?
No, I just want to find out, why do you want to raise money? Just find out whether there is need to raise money. Because it has become also a fashionable statement saying that I've raised money. So just like, I think my request to the other side is that unless the money is required, like the way like Hari put it, if it is working capital, don't raise money. Because equity is the best form of your asset in life. Don't just let it go to someone unless there is a real requirement for money.
Thank you.
It's an exit or how will we exit from your investment?
Come again?
Exit the road.
Okay. See, typically all the investors get exit either when there are next bigger rounds are happening. So there is a chance of you getting some exits. Otherwise, the two most realistic in Indian scenario is still, I think, is either the acquisition by someone or there is an IPO scenario. Now, IPO is a very far-fetched thing. So especially for F&B kind of like a business, acquisition comes a very natural way of thinking exit for your investors. But early stage angels and early stage funds, they also get exit just because there are some large VCs coming in Series B, C, D. So those are the two things basically when it comes from investment exit is concerned. But for most practical purpose, I think acquisition comes very natural.
See, startup equity investments are extremely illiquid. So even if you have put money into some company, don't expect that money to come back until unless you wait for 10 to 15 years. There is a chance if the company does well. So this is a very illiquid form of investment. That is why, valuations on paper can be very high, but you will never be able to convert it to cash until unless there is a exit event happening or there is a liquidity event happening.
And that is one of the reasons why when Bala said that hope, or Hari sir said hope of actually 100x or like 1000x, that's because of this reason, that one is very liquid, it's very, very unlikely that you will get an exit. And most of the companies also die basically while they are scaling. So very less probability, like hardly like 10% exit probability is what we are working on as a business model of venture capital. So that's the reason of like very high multiplier hope that we have in every investment that we do.
So I would, if there are any other questions, please ask. Otherwise, I'll be asking a few questions to the panelists. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Chirag from the Paniyaram company. Some of you all might have met my brother last night at dinner. So I keep asking him when we should be raising money, and he keeps telling me that it's not always about the money. It's also about what value the investor brings in. Is that true? Secondly, when do you think a startup should be raising money?
What value investor brings in? Okay, that's a very tricky question, am I right? So I think if you look at it, there are some industries which are well established. There are some industries are evolving. I would say, like, I think the organized food, some of these categories are really evolving. What one, like, actually we don't know about, see, bankers are too generalists. They know about all the businesses. They may not know about your business so deep. But what one could bring here is that, like, our ability to see three things, like from a commonalities of transferring like best practices from one industry to another industry, and to connect things of what happened there, what is happening here, how you can look at it. That's what the best, like, I think investor brings in. Obviously, like, there are parameters in which, like, I think one can set up, like, and how much is the, revenue per square feet and all that. All this now, been figured out by everyone who's doing the business.
So my answer to your question, the second question is very, very simple. 90% of investors do not bring any value to startups. In fact, they bring negative value to startups. So that's what, it's not what I have said, it's what Vinod Khosla, one of the best VCs in the world, has told. And it's a fact. I see so many founders, they hear their investors more than they hear their customers. So the customer voice is the most important thing for you. Your employee voice is very important for you. But if you hear investors, there is a very good chance that your business will fail. And you will, of course, retract. You will learn from that. So you have to choose your investors very properly. Now, your first question is, when should we raise money? If you at all think that your business requires external capital, I would say from day one, you should be in the market. Because you will have to face 100 no's before somebody says, okay, let me look at it. So this fact of going and getting a no is very important for entrepreneurs, because it makes them thick-skinned. It makes them learn from investors. Investors can actually give you a lot of information about what's happening in the market, what are the trends, and investors don't understand your business. Please understand this. You understand your business the best, and investors can just tell you something from the periphery in terms of what they think about the business or what they have heard from other founders. They will tell you who is your competition. The best way to understand who are your competition is to go and speak to investors. They tell you, oh, I saw this company from Bombay, they are doing the same thing, they are doing this number. So then you know that there is a competitor for your business. So investors, I would always say, good to go and continuously communicate with investors, because investors give you a lot of feedback, number one. Number two, investors also, you build relationship. So there are many smart entrepreneurs I see who keep on updating you about what's happening in the company. At some point of time when they are looking at funding, you are already prepared with what they are doing. So it's very important for you to communicate and build your relationship with the investor network.
Just wanted to add one thing here. So, like, we have used this, what you're asking, as a hack to hedge our investments. Okay, so a lot of investors from where we raise our capital, okay, we call them LPs. So we try to map if there is a strategic person who understands your business. Like, for example, in this room, a lot of F&B guys are there. So imagine if someone like Sagar or someone like Ashish, okay, you just heard, okay, them speaking about, and they've been into the industry. Like, if they come on board, okay, as a like small check while we are investing, actually that is the best way that we follow, just to hedge our risk also. Because if we are investing in something which is looking very exciting to us as from investor lens, then somebody comes like from a domain expertise lens also, and he kind of revalidate the same thing and put a small check. If we are putting, say, 1.5 crores, even if he is just putting, say, 5 lakh, 10 lakh, that brings basically a lot of one validation from the industry expert, and also basically we ensure that he make himself available, okay, whenever you need help. So that is how we are using it. And a lot of VCs, okay, once we start investing, there are few domains where we have more investments. So I think that network effect also plays a big role while we are investing. So like, for example, we have very heavily invested in EV, so 10 investments in that sector. Any new EV investment that we are doing, any new founder who is coming and taking money from us, we can also offer that network effect to them, that those founders who really make big in that sector can come and help that company. So yes, I think strategic investors really play a role, but as Hari said, be very careful about what they're promising and what they're doing for you.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. So, okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
So, vanakkam sir. ஏற்கனவே இந்தியாவில் இருக்கிற பிரியாணி பிராண்டில் இருக்கக்கூடிய பிராண்ட்ஸோட ரொம்ப பெட்டரான ஒரு பிராண்டு நான் கிரியேட் பண்ணியிருக்கிறதா நான் நம்புகிறேன். என்கிட்ட இருக்குங்க. ஸோ அதை நீங்கள் பார்க்கலாம். ஸோ உங்களுக்கு அது பிடிச்சிருந்தா இது என்னென்னா இது இந்தியா ஃபுல்லாக கொண்டு போகணுங்கிறது தான் என்னுடைய ஸோ அது டார்கெட் பண்ணி தான் நான் கிரியேட் பண்ணியிருக்கிறேன். ஸோ அது இருக்குது என்கிட்ட கொண்டு வந்திருக்கேன், நீங்கள் பார்க்கலாம்.
கண்டிப்பாக
பிடிச்சிருந்தா நீங்கள் அதை பண்ணுங்க. தேங்க்யூ.
ரொம்ப நன்றி.
தேங்க்யூ.
Yeah, ma'am.
So this is a very interesting topic. You know, biryani. In India, every state has got 3-4 varieties of biryani which they claim is the best in the country or in the world, right? So biryani is a big fight, or it's a culture. So, you know, we don't have a single biryani brand which does 1,000 crores, right? Biryani is one of the most consumed food in the country. And, you know, Chennai has got a different flavor. Tamil Nadu has got a different flavor.
Chennai itself, we have 3 flavors.
Within Chennai itself, there are some excellent brands, 4-5 brands. So biryani is a very big market in India, but we still don't have one company which has got 1,000 crores of turnover in biryani. So that's a big opportunity in my opinion, but you have to know how to play that opportunity. Yes, please.
So there is a message for everyone, okay? If you have really make out. So Hari sir has a soft corner for this business. So anybody making a biryani business, he is the investor.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to understand what is the thumb rule in food industry if we are raising funds? Is there a particular thumb rule ki what percentage equity should be given? Is there a equation that startups who are raising funds for the first time get some inputs? And is it that it varies based on if we are raising funds for capex versus raising funds for strategy?
On behalf of the panel, I would like to answer this. Ma'am, the scope of the answer to the question that you asked is very, very wide. So what we suggest from TiE Coimbatore is we'll do a very detailed workshop on investments in the food business, and that's our way of selling registration to you as well. We will look forward to seeing you there.
Okay, I have 2 questions to ask the panelists. You know, first of all, you know, in the food business, we've got an entire ecosystem, which means we've got raw materials, then we have got kitchen, then we've got the front end or the cloud kitchens, and then we have the brand, and then of course the logistics to give that and the customer experience. So in all these, this multiple ecosystem with multiple players, investments are happening in every single stage. I know you have recently done a big Horeca deal, for a company. You have done a lot of D2C brands, right? So which sector do you think is the hottest from an investor point of view? Because there are many companies, many people here who run brands. There are many people who do RTE, RTC. There are many people who do backending of kitchen, stuff. So which space do you think is a lot of potentials?
See, it's an ecosystem play, Hari sir, so there is not one single vertical to be very specific. I think it's also what comes natural to you as an investor. So we have done a couple of good D2C investments. We made good money, and I think then we have some kind of playbook to kind of understand and identify a new opportunity. But we have been, as an investor fund, we have been big believer of the enabling ecosystem. So anything which enables the core business, we feel that they have a large horizontal play, okay? They can cut across. Like a trends and hot market, basically sentiment in that particular, say, year or say couple of years. So when it comes to logistics, when it comes to supply chain, inventory, SaaS, when it comes to anything on the manufacturing side, those are the businesses that we really like. But we are not shying away from investing in F&B brands. We are very less companies in our portfolio on that side. So I met a lot of people today, so hoping to make at least 2 to 3 investments in next 6 to 8 months. Yeah.
Bala, what about you?
I think all the things which you mentioned, I think across we are there in all the spectrum. But for us, as I said in the beginning, what makes a huge difference is who is behind it, the founder. If I have to borrow his words, Agni Kunjondra Kanden, Vendata Nindadu Kaadu, correct? So that's what he said. I think I'm looking for that spark in the people, I think who would make a difference. I think if you go back to look at our portfolio, I think, that's what the thesis behind it.
So thank you very much. We are running out of time. Bala has to catch a flight, but before he goes out, if you want some inputs from him, please catch him before he leaves for his, flight. So Bala is there. Neeraj is also here. I'm also here. So we are available for anybody who wants to have a side talk, while we are having coffee. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bala. Thank you, Neeraj.
நன்றி நன்றி நன்றி.
Okay, sorry. When I say shit, the mic starts working. Thank you so much, panel, for being there. May I request Swati Agarwal, the Executive Director of TiE Coimbatore, to please come and give a small token, a big token of our love to all our speakers.